You care what they think. The stranger on the train whose eyes flicked down to your shoes. The cashier who didn't smile back. The person in the comments you will never meet, never speak to, and will forget within a week. You care what all of them think, and you hate that you do. But here's the thing. You were never supposed to stop caring. Your brain was never designed to separate a stranger's glance from a death sentence. And the reason for that goes back much further than you think. Picture yourself 70,000 years ago. You are not reading this. You are not on a train. You are standing at the edge of a small group of about 50 to 150 people, and every single one of them knows your name. There is no outside world to escape to. There is no city to disappear into. There is only the group. And if the group decides you are a problem,
You die.
not metaphorically, literally. You starve, or something eats you, or winter takes you. Alone, you are already dead. The group is the only structure that keeps you alive. So your brain built something. A system so sensitive to social information that it could detect the faintest signal of disapproval before it became rejection. A system that scans every face for threat, every posture, every pause before someone answers you. Your brain learned to treat social exclusion the same way it treats physical pain. Because for most of human history, they carried the same consequence. Naomi Eisenberger, a neuroscientist at UCLA, ran a now famous study in 2003 called cyberball. Participants played a simple, digital ball-tossing game with what they believed were two other real players. Partway through the game, the other two players stopped throwing the ball to the participant and began ignoring them completely. Eisenberger then scanned their brains. The area that lit up was the dorsal anterior cingulate cortex, the same region that activates when you feel physical pain. Being left out of a game by strangers you had never met produced a measurable, biological pain response. Your brain does not know the difference between being excluded from a ball game and being left to die in the forest. It treats them as the same emergency. Now run that forward 70,000 years into the present, and you start to understand why the comment under your photo still sits in the back of your mind 3 days later. Why you rehearsed what you were going to say before a meeting with someone you will never see again. Why a single cold response from a stranger on the internet can quietly ruin an afternoon. You are not weak. You are not too sensitive. You are running ancient survival code on a modern world that was never part of the original design. The anthropologist Robin Dunbar proposed something now called Dunbar's number in the early 1990s. His research suggested that the human neocortex, the part of the brain responsible for complex social processing, evolved to manage relationships with roughly 150 people at a time. That is the upper limit of a stable social group a human brain can meaningfully track. 150 people whose names you know, whose moods you can read, whose opinions about you carry real weight. Today, you have access to the opinions of billions. Every time you post something, the audience is not 150 people who know you. It is a theoretical crowd that has no ceiling. Your brain cannot process that. It was not built for that. So it does what it always does. It defaults to the ancient algorithm. It treats every stranger who scrolls past your face as a potential member of your survival group. It treats their silence as ambiguous threat. It treats their disapproval as warning. And it treats their approval as confirmation that you are still safe, still accepted, still inside the boundary that keeps you alive. This is why you feel a small chemical reward when a post gets likes. Dopamine. The same neurotransmitter that drives hunger and thirst is activated by social validation. Your brain classifies being seen positively by others as a resource, not metaphorically, biologically. Research by Darmashi and colleagues at the Freie Universität Berlin found in 2013 that receiving positive social feedback activated the ventral striatum, the brain's core reward center, in the same pattern as receiving money. Your brain considers the stranger's approval to be as real and as valuable as food or shelter. That is not vanity. That is circuitry built over millions of years to ensure you stayed connected to the people who could keep you alive. But here is the counterintuitive part. The very system that was designed to protect you is now protecting you from a threat that doesn't exist. The stranger on the train will forget you in 4 seconds. The commenter has already scrolled past. The person who didn't smile back was thinking about something else entirely. There is no tribe. There is no exclusion vote happening behind closed doors. The ancient alarm is firing in a room where there is no fire, and yet the feeling is completely real, because your nervous system does not grade threats on probability. It grades them on possibility. The possibility that the disapproval is real is enough to trigger the full cascade. Elevated heart rate, heightened self-consciousness, rumination, the replay loop. You have probably done this. Replayed a conversation in your head long after it ended, looking for the moment things went wrong, searching for the expression on someone's face that told you something shifted. That is not obsession. That is your brain's ancient threat detection software running a diagnostic. It is trying to identify the error so it can be corrected before the group turns. The psychologist Mark Leary developed what he called Sociometer Theory in the 1990s. His argument was straightforward and startling. Self-esteem is not actually about how you feel about yourself. Self-esteem is a real-time monitoring system for how accepted you believe you are by others. When you feel confident, it is not because you have assessed your own value independently. It is because your social radar is reading positive signals from the people around you. When your self-esteem drops, it is not a personal failure. It is your sociometer detecting a potential drop in group standing and sending an alarm. The feeling of low self-worth is, at its core, a social warning signal. It is your brain saying something in your belonging is at risk. Pay attention. This reframes almost everything. The anxiety before a presentation is not fear of failure. It is fear of visibility, of being seen and found lacking by the group. The shame after an embarrassing moment is not about the moment itself. It is about what the moment might signal to others about your value as a member of the collective. The impulse to explain yourself, to justify, to over-clarify in texts and emails is the sociometer working overtime, trying to close the gap between how you appear and how you need to appear to stay safe. And the cruelest part is that none of the people triggering this response are actually watching that closely. There is a phenomenon in psychology sometimes called the spotlight effect, studied extensively by Thomas Gilovich at Cornell University. His research showed consistently that people dramatically overestimate how much others notice and remember their behavior. When participants wore an embarrassing t-shirt into a room of strangers, they estimated that about half the people in the room noticed. The actual number was closer to 20%. And even those who noticed had already largely forgotten by the time they were asked. You are not the center of anyone else's attention. You are barely a footnote. But your ancient brain, built for a village of 150 where everyone did notice, has never gotten that message. So you move through a world of billions of strangers, carrying a nervous system calibrated for a village that no longer exists, running threat assessments on people who will never know your name, measuring your worth against the imagined gaze of an audience that is almost entirely inside your own head. And the strangest part is this. The same sensitivity that makes you anxious in a crowd is the same sensitivity that makes you kind. That makes you notice when someone else is uncomfortable. That makes you adjust your tone when you can feel a conversation shifting. The exact circuitry that fires when a stranger glances at you wrong is the circuitry that lets you read a room, feel the mood of a group, sense when someone needs something before they ask for it. The thing that hurts you is the same thing that connects you. You were built to belong, not in the loose, inspirational sense, in the most literal, biological, evolutionary sense. Belonging was survival. The opinions of others were data your life depended on. Your brain has not forgotten that. It never will. Every time you feel the pull of a stranger's judgment, every time you rehearse a conversation that hasn't happened yet, every time you check to see how something landed, you are not malfunctioning. You are doing exactly what 70,000 years of human history built you to do. The stranger on the train whose eyes flicked down to your shoes has already forgotten you. But the part of you that noticed is the same part that kept your ancestors alive long enough for you to be here at all.